this is Sharon Burch, founder of New Directions for Nurses and LiberatedNurse.com. We teach nurse coaches, consultants, and educators how to grow thriving businesses. Welcome to the Respectful Marketing Tips for Caring Nurse Entrepreneurs event. You know, I often hear nurse entrepreneurs say that they need more customers, but they feel awkward, embarrassed, or uncertain when they offer their services. So I've assembled a panel of successful nurse entrepreneurs to share their experiences and best tips with you. And I'd like to introduce today's guest, Dr. Margaret Erickson. I've invited Dr. Erickson to this event because she led a group of nurses to assess the need for holistic nursing certification, which led to the creation of the American Holistic Nurses Credentialing Corporation, or AHNCC. The AHNCC is a nonprofit organization that administers board certification exams for holistic nurses and nurse coaches, and does the endorsement process for academic holistic nursing programs at the baccalaureate and master's levels. Dr. Erickson has been AHNCC's CEO since its formation 22 years ago. Can't believe it's been that long, but it has. It was 2000. Dr. Erickson's focus has always been to support and facilitate holistic nursing practice, care, and healthcare transformation. And she's practiced holistic nursing for more than 44 years with different populations in various settings, such as adult health, ICU, newborn nursery, labor and delivery, mental health, independent practice, discharge planning, and case management. She has taught undergraduate and graduate holistic nursing courses at the University of Texas and has research published and presented nationally on holistic nursing and health. She's also consulted with hospitals, institutions, and universities to help them implement holistic nursing practice and education-based curricula. Welcome, Dr. Erickson. So happy to have you here and honored for your presence and this time with you.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start out by helping the audience get to know you a little bit. So I wonder if you would tell us where you live and what you like to do for fun.
Right now, I live outside Austin, Texas, in Cedar Park, Texas. Ironically, I was born in Midland, Texas, but raised in Michigan, and now I'm back in Texas. And I love to travel. I love to bake, and I'm an avid reader. Nothing better than a book and curling up and having some book time to unwind and just let myself relax.
Nice. I can just see you doing that. I love that too, myself, actually. So to help us have a framework for the rest of our conversation here, I wonder if you'd tell us a little bit about how you define success.
Wow. I think success is walking your talk, being comfortable in speaking your truth, and being able to do what you believe is important and necessary in your life. It's really about your mission work. And I have to say, Sharon, that I need to give credit where credit is due. I have been with the CEO for AHNCC for 22 years. I came in 2000, May 2000, and were actually incorporated in 1997. By a group of holistic nurse leaders. And the first exam was offered in 1999.
I didn't know that history.
And then in 2000, when I came on, I had the opportunity to start working with some amazing people. And we did, through the years, needs assessments, focus groups, to end up creating 4 holistic nursing certification exams based on the different educational levels and the nurse coaching exam. And so there was really due diligence done. But what I will say is that I think success is never done by an individual. There is shared connections, there are shared resources, there's shared knowledge, there's value and recognition of those we connect with. And so when I think about my journey, and I think the most important thing is walking our talk. And we hear that a lot from people who connect with us, who get certified, or universities that we work with to help build holistic nursing curriculum. We currently have 17 schools that AHNCC has endorsed. And what that means is their university programs create the kinds of nurses that you and I want taking care of ourselves and our loved ones. Because what we teach ends up creating a product, which is the nurse. And if we have someone who has been taught that the focus is illness and disease, that's their focus of care. So whether I'm working with universities, whether I'm working with people who are interested in getting certified in holistic nursing or nurse coaching, it's always about walking the talk. Because if you can't be genuine, people know that. And you have to be comfortable. I think nurses do our very best always to care for others, but in caring for others, we don't always care for ourselves. And so I am getting better as I get older and wiser of doing more self-care. And one of the things that I am offering is a very small booklet on self-care. It has some wonderful videos and a few reminders of how important it is, because if your car is empty, you're not going anywhere. And nursing is always giving and giving and giving. And before we have anything to give, we have to fill up our tank. I think of us as cars with gasoline and maintenance, and we're not taught to do that. One of the things we teach in holistic nursing curriculum is about the importance and value of relationships. And relationships are not only with others, they're relationships with ourselves.
One of the core values of holistic nursing is self-care, isn't it?
And everybody now recognizes, because one of the gifts of the pandemic was that if you don't do self-care, you don't have it to give to others. So I think being true to yourself, speaking your truth, holding your space, remembering why you went into nursing, and taking care of self so that you have those resources is critically important to being successful and wanting to get up in the morning.
Yes. Yeah. I'm so glad you brought that forward. I see it the same way. And I hear it from a lot of nurses who are choosing to become entrepreneurs. That is a part, self-care, time flexibility in order to take care of ourselves and our family and not be stressed out like as much as we are in healthcare settings, and be safe. So many healthcare settings are not safe for nurses in many ways. And just being able to put ourselves first. This is one of the main motivators for many nurses to look for a path to become a successful entrepreneur.
Well, there's no reason we can't have win-win. There's no reason that you can't serve others. I mean, that's why I became a nurse. It wasn't for the great hours. It wasn't for the great money. It wasn't for the opportunities, which I didn't even recognize as a student, that there are so many opportunities, but it was be able to serve others and make a difference. But there's no reason that we have to take abuse or short staffing or not have our voice heard. And one of the things that we note in our certification organization is so many of our certification examinations are taken because people are validating why they want to be, what they do, who they are, affirm their values. And through that certification, it helps them create independent practice. We have a lot of holistic nurses and nurse coaches that work independently. As long as you practice within your Practice Act, you can do your nursing. And you can do nursing the way I would say most of us probably went into nursing, which is to help care for people in the best of your ability, facilitating health and wellness, even if they're taking their last breath. And being your own business, your own boss, allows you to have life-work balance, allows you to care for self, allows you to choose when you want to work and when you want to care for family, or if you want to work remote, or if you want to contract, or you want to consult, or you want to educate. Our nurse coaches and our holistic nurses work in every setting possible, in with every population. We have one that works with Harley Davidson. We have another that is setting up wellness programs for organizations. We have nurse coaches that are working for hospitals or health clinics, or just have their own shingle. They are starting to be more valued, and people want and desire to seek higher levels of health and wellness. And so whether you're certified as a holistic nurse or nurse coach, that's where your focus is going to be. And then you're true to why you probably went into nursing. It wasn't the bedpans, it wasn't the INOs, it wasn't starting the IVs, but it was helping people have a higher quality of life.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I hear so many nurses say that exact same thing, and they want to be able to teach whole health, not just here's medications and the side effects and, don't fall, things like that. There's so much more to a person and to their life, and nurses want to feel free to, and not only less constrained with time pressure than they would in a mainstream employee role.
Well, the focus is very different, Sharon, too, when you're doing it from a business perspective. And when I say business, what I'm thinking really about is service where you have control.
Yes, that's a good way to say
versus business where the goal is to make money. But there's no reason that we shouldn't be making a good living for what we do. But being able to say that Mr. Jones is having chest pain because his wife died, getting to that issue is not something that hospital nurses are encouraged to do, or often are even taught to do. So what we do is we go down the wrong path, and we continue the tasks without ever getting to where we want to go. And if you have control over your own business, then you can direct, guide, facilitate, nurture the interaction in the process.
Yeah, wonderful. What can you tell us a little bit about the certifications of the holistic health nurse certification and the nurse coach certification? Just a little snippet in case someone is listening that doesn't know about those two.
Holistic nursing certification focuses on health and wellness through the lifespan. And there are 4 exams for the non-baccalaureate prepared, the baccalaureate prepared, the graduate prepared, and then the advanced practice. And as I said, one of the things that's required is holistic nursing practice. If you believe that people are greater than the sum of the parts, if you believe in relationship-based care, if you believe that how we think and feel affects how our body functions, or that depression affects our ability to heal, if you believe that the person has their story and you have to listen to it, you're a holistic nurse. So that's the number one question we get. But our holistic nurses work from first breath to the last breath. And then our nurse coaches are those who get certified, I want to say, in advanced communication and relationship building skills. Their focus is shorter term. What you're doing is listening to the individual. You should always be listening to the individual, but helping them identify what their needs are, helping them accomplish those goals so that they have a higher state of well-being. And we do it within the context of holism because we believe that the spirit, mind, and body are connected. You can't cut people up into pieces of the pie. So our certification exams are always holistic based, but the one focuses on health and wellness throughout the lifespan. The other focuses on the advanced communication skills and helping people partner in a way that facilitates goal accomplishment.
Thank you. Wonderful. And then there's a credential that nurses can have if they're both certified as a holistic nurse and a nurse coach. Is that right?
That's right. It's the health and wellness nurse coach, as well as the designation of their holistic nursing credential. And that's because a health and wellness nurse coach has expertise in health and wellness through the lifespan, as well as the advanced nurse coaching skills.
Yeah.
So it's a dual certification. What's interesting is we're finding A lot of our initial nurse coach certificates come back and get certified in holistic nursing because there's a piece that they want expanded. There's something they want to know more about. And they're starting to recognize that you don't coach people in narrow focus where it's just about communication. It's about the whole health, as you were talking about, of the being. It's about the spirit, the mind, the emotions, the psychological, all of those parts come together and they're always interacting. And that's the focus of the health and wellness, the holistic nursing certification exam. That synergy of the connections and the parts and the energy that's created.
Yeah. Yeah, so love all that. And so just for the audience's clarity, I'll just summarize by saying you can be certified as a holistic nurse at whatever level your education is. You can be certified as a nurse coach if you have that additional training and practice experience. There's a practicum part of that leading to that certification. And then if you want to have both those certifications, you can do that as well. And there's an additional uh, designation for that.
Right.
Okay, thank you. How
You're
many,
welcome.
could you have an estimate of how many nurses are currently certified
We
as whole
have we
nurses?
have about 3,500 certificates across the board, and I think it's about 800 now nurse coaching. Now, our first exam was the basic, and then we added as we went. The nurse coach is one of the last designations that we added, but it's the fastest growing, and I think that's because it's very powerful. People recognize that we need to focus on health, not illness and disease. And the nurse coaching is it's the relationship based where it's one-on-one. And our nurse coaches work in hospitals, health clinics. A lot of them are entrepreneurs. They're independent practice. But the focus is really, the pandemic has really made the many others, we've been aware of it for a long time, of focusing on health and wellness, not the illness, the disease, the system that's not the heart attack in 228, but the man in 228 who's brokenhearted because he lost his wife and needs support and resources to find a new, stable, balanced state of equilibrium.
Yeah, a much bigger picture.
A
And
much bigger picture.
nurses are perfect for that role, bringing that paradigm to the public. The public is looking for that paradigm more and more. Public trusts nurses as the number one most trusted profession for the last 20 years. So it's a many factors are supporting the timing of nurses step forward and become entrepreneurs. Now, our focus of this little event and interview series is on marketing and specifically how to put ourselves out there and say our message without feeling embarrassed or awkward or like we're asking for too much when we ask for a price. And I think there are so many different ways to come at that question. I think ultimately we each find our own unique way that's authentic for us. But I want to say that I think it's important that nurses come to that, to come to their marketing and their offers from a nurse's standpoint, not from the standard American way of doing business, which, as we know, is a spectrum. You can't just say it's one thing, but that spectrum goes from a lot of exploitation of people for personal gain without a lot of concern about the consequences or repercussions after the sale at one end of the spectrum to the other end is what's called conscious business, where the business owner does try to be mindful and compassionate and have integrity when they market and sell their services. Even with that, I think nurses represent actually another paradigm because our ethics of putting the client the customer, the patient first, and looking at their outcomes, not only immediate outcomes, but their long term, like where are they headed with this problem? It makes us different. And part of that is also that we're truly committed to helping people, like setting people up for success with reaching their desired outcome, that there's the reason that they're seeking help. Would you agree with that?
I would completely agree with everything you've said. I think that very few of us go into nursing thinking, first of all, that I'm going to make a lot of money in this job. We're also, I think, as a female based in general profession, we've been taught to do the work, not complain, not ask for breaks. I mean, I've been in nursing over 40 years. And I can remember being told years ago when I worked at the VA, you're not getting dinner tonight, but we're not paying you for it. Don't even bother asking. Or you can't leave, but we're not going to pay you because we've already allotted, the payment. I sit back and I think, or if you aren't going to work the second shift, we're going to write you up for abandonment of dereliction of duty, abandonment of patient. As females, we are much more inclined to accept that. But the bottom line is, and feel guilty if we say no, but the bottom line is that if we don't take care of ourselves, we have nothing to give our patients. We have nothing to give our customers. We have nothing to give our students. Because not only do we burn out, we go on autopilot. We're not connected. We're not present. We can't do our best work. We certainly can't access all the different ways of knowing. We're functional. So one of the things that I think when I've worked with students is when we talk about self-care is it's not just about caring for self, it's caring for others. It's not a selfish desire. It's really the only way we can be the best of best selves to show up to do our job. And so I think part of it is that we're female. Part of it is because many of us believe it's a mission. And so we have a hard time sometimes setting boundaries. I have a young niece who was talking about how tired she is for her 8 hours. And my mom and I looked at each other. We're both nurses. We remember working 12 or 16-hour shifts. And I remember one time when I was young, I was 21 and I just graduated and I had no children. And I had worked 20 hours. The nurses were on strike. And I said, I have to go home. And a nurse said, you don't have anybody to go home to. That's very selfish. And I said, I'm not safe. I am not safe. I can't be here. And so we talk about basic needs and growth needs and self-esteem needs. We talk about it with our clients. But the bottom line is we have to have those needs met as nurses. And we have to take care of ourselves first. They always, on the planes, put on your mask first before you put the mask on somebody else. And we need to teach our students that. We need to teach them how to say no. Thank you very much, but the answer is no. We need to work together collegially. When we make as we are in the business of healthcare. And so how do we show up that we're true to ourselves and authentic to what we do, but also authentic to our customers? Because being willing to work 20 hours, I've done that once, even 16 hours, we can't show up to the best of who we are. That means that they're getting used goods. And if you are worried about paying your bills, or you're worried about how you're going to put your kid through school because you're working for pittance when somebody else is out selling, no offense to the entrepreneurs who are selling shoes online and making hundreds of thousands of dollars, more power to them. But what we do is really important. Hospitals are there only because nurses are there. Mm-hmm. Healthcare systems, wellness centers, nursing schools, they need us to show up in the strongest, the most powerful way we can, because we have the ability to change healthcare, change it from illness and disease to healthcare, but only if we speak our truth, we hold our space, and we honor what we do.
Yes, that word honor says a lot.
Yes, it does.
I would venture to guess almost every nurse chose to be a nurse, went through her education and her state boards and all that because she had a vision of helping people. And it was from her heart, it was from her intelligence, it was from her courage to serve and to live a life that's maybe a little different than mainstream in that way of being service oriented. And then to honor that and not leave it behind, but to look for, okay, where can I, now that I've seen what the reality of employment is, how can I bring forward my education, my values and ethics and my skills, my curiosity, my heart for service, all these things in a package that I can give to the public directly rather than through an employer, and help them solve a problem in their health, prevent a problem that could be set up by genetics or environment or, certain stress patterns, things like that. There are so many ways that we can use our education and our nursing perspective, our viewpoint. Our point of view is hugely needed by the public.
It's unique because we're the only one that really looks at the whole person.
Yeah.
I am not saying we're experts in every area. I've worked in mental health for many years, so I know that there are people that need counselors or therapy, psychotherapy that would benefit from a referral. But we're the only profession that really looks at the spirit, the mind, the body, genetics, the environment, recognizing that you can't take pieces of people and treat them, and you can't take them out of their culture, their values, their beliefs. So I think that we're very unique about in that way, and I think that now is the time that nurses are really saying, I didn't come in for this. This isn't what I signed on for. And independent practice, as long as you're practicing in your practice act, your State Board of Nursing Practice Act, you're covered. You can facilitate health and wellness. You have the ability. And as nurse coaches, this is important because this is a question I hear all the time. Should I identify myself as a nurse coach? Unless you let go of your license, you are a nurse first. So, for example, I have a lot of communications with non-nurse coaches. So maybe you're visiting with somebody about smoking cessation. Maybe you're visiting with somebody who just wants to learn how to say no because they're just a yes person that gets run over all the time. As a nurse, you're going to be dealing with that. But you're also going to look down and say, those toes look way too blue for me. And I know Mr. So-and-so lives with diabetes. So you can't say, I'm just a coach. You are a nurse. You have a practice. You have a practice act that you're held accountable for, licensure that directs how you show up. And this is something that we hear all the time because you need to protect who you are. As a nurse entrepreneur, you need to protect what you know, your unique skills, your expertise. And part of that is always being aware of what are those professional boundaries and what are the expectations. So I think that nurse coaches are very unique. Obviously, I'm biased. But one of the things I've heard from generalists, I'll call them general health and wellness coaches, is, I'll refer them. If I see potential mental health, I refer them. If I see spiritual problems, I refer them. Well, we don't refer them. We deal with the whole person. Because we know that if a veteran comes back with spiritual angst, it's going to affect his ability for his wounds to heal. We know that somebody who has PTSD is going to have maybe a problem following instructions about their physical wound care. So I think that we are very unique. I think we're very special. But I think in order to be the best that we can be and have the best to offer, we have to honor and respect who we are and take care of ourselves.
I agree, Margaret, 100%. So it sounds to me, and just to wrap this part up, is that a way for nurses to offer their services without feeling apologetic or embarrassed or like they're asking too much is to really take stock of the value that they're bringing to the public, to the person they're working with, and honor that value and honor themselves as a professional who has professional level education, who has experience.
Right.
Many of us do specialize as well. Some of us stay general, some of us go for a mental health specialty or pediatric specialty or neuro or, so many different cardiac. And we can bring those specialties right into our business as an entrepreneur as well, and bring all that training and be a practitioner that, and I don't just mean nurse practitioners, but a holistic health practitioner or nurse coach practitioner that others can refer to. Others can definitely be referring patients to us. And yet, in order for that to happen, we need to step up and tell people we're here. Tell them what we do. Tell them about our value, what value we bring.
One of the things we work with universities, when we're talking to schools of nursing, we really talk about the importance of nursing theory, which is important in holistic nursing because having that theoretical framework allows us to articulate who we are, what we do, where we do it, why we do it, and why it makes a difference. And nurses often cannot do that. And so hospitals throughout the country, many hospitals count us as a line item of room and board. People don't know that, but an aspirin has a line item, a Telfapad has a line item, a Foley kit has a line item, social workers, doctors have a line item. Nursing is room and board. And we need to learn to be able to articulate who we are, what we do, honor what we do, affirm what we do. One of the things certification allows is for people to affirm, not only affirm who they are, but it tells the stakeholders, I have expertise and knowledge in these skills. And we do have institutions throughout the country that are holistic based. They use Gene Watson or other holistic nursing theories to guide the practice. So, and our exams are all nationally accredited and they are all AHNCC magnet recognized. So we have consultants, we have contractors that are an independent practice that work with hospitals or work with schools or work with one of our health and wellness coaches, and she's also an advanced holistic nurse, works with school systems to help create health and wellness focus or foci in the schools. So there are ways of supporting and honoring what you do. Certification is one of them. Another way is learning to articulate what you bring to the table, because healthcare systems don't run without nurses. And I think that it's time for us to not just be trusted by the public, but respected. And I think there's very much a difference between the two because I trust that my dog isn't going to bite me. But I don't want people to say, like, I listen to my nurses. I go to nurse practitioners because I get a better health and wellness focus than if I go to a physician. And so I don't want to hear, well, I'll ask the doctor. I want somebody to say, I go to my nurse. I ask my nurse because we specialize in health and wellness. That's what we do.
I love that. The addition of, we start with honoring who we are and then the respect. And respect from others, of course, comes first from our own self-respect.
That's true.
Very powerful, very important. Thank you for that. I want to bring us around to a little bit about the holistic nursing scope and standards of practice. You mentioned the importance of following our Nurse Practice Act in stepping out into being an entrepreneur, and I agree. The way I look at it is our Nurse Practice Acts tell us what we must do, and what we must not do.
Right, boundaries.
The boundaries. And then we need the scope and standards of practice from the ANA in whatever our specialty is. And for me, it's holistic nursing. That's the topic we're talking about. We need our specialty scope and standards of practice then to tell us what we can do, what to be competent in. And I find great guidance and in some cases inspiration from the holistic nursing scope and standards of practice and the competencies that you've published for certified holistic nurses and nurse coaches. I refer to those all the time. I teach from them as a core of what I teach nurse entrepreneurs to do, because they are rich resources to tell us what we're capable of. Some things we aren't top of mind when we've come from an employee setting, but they are really essential for us as we develop our own path, our lane, toward serving the public directly.
Well, I think they fill in, to me, they fill in the blanks. Like, we're taught certain things in nursing school, and unfortunately, most of our school systems or curriculum is set up really in a biomedical model. You're healthy if you don't have an illness or disease. The focus is cure versus healing. The focus is task versus relationship connection, energy patterns. The scope and standards are the richness, and the filler is extremely important. A vessel is only useful if it is filled, right? But the scope and standards tell us all the possibilities. They give us guidance on the who, the what, the where, the when, the how. And for me, of course, it's holistic nursing as well, because our philosophy guides us on how we practice. And so it's also going to take us, it takes us down certain paths. If we believe that the focus is, I used to work critical care, but I showed up very differently than most of my colleagues. And so when you look at a scope and standards, it has to fit your philosophy. It has to feel like a comfortable pair of clothes that is aligned with who you are, your values, your attitudes, and beliefs. And then it enriches your life, it enriches your practice. It gives you guidance on how you want to serve. Because ultimately, for me, nursing is about serving. And I will say that I serve myself, then I can serve others. But I didn't go into, we do have a different orientation than business, because it isn't just about money. It is about being able to offer what we have within the perspective of our worldviews. And as holistic nurses, it's creating that win-win. And how that looks, maybe for some people, I have colleagues that make very good money in their practice, but they do pro bono work for those who can't afford. I have others that say, I make a very good living, I could make more, but it's what fits for you. And to me, everything I do, whether it's as CEO or working with schools or working with students, working with colleagues, it has to be within walking the talk. It has to be aligned with how I see the world, how I see other people, how I see servant leadership.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for this conversation. It's been rich, and I really appreciate you being here today, Margaret.
My pleasure.
So you do have a little gift for the audience, and I just want to let them know well, you should describe it. You told me a little earlier, but let me turn it back over to you. Tell us what your gift is.
It's a small little self-care booklet. It's about pausing, being, and breathing. As nurses, and when I work with students or work with universities, hospitals, we all know the importance of presence. When somebody is physically present but not emotionally present. And I believe that nursing is about being in those sacred, vulnerable moments of people's lives that we're gifted with them. But in order to be able to show up in our true selves and our best selves, you have to take care of self. And so it's a tiny little booklet that has some sayings, it has a couple wonderful videos to help you pause, breathe, and be. And in the process, fill up your tank per se. I often will start my day with one of the videos, which is It's a Wonderful World, and it's children from all over the world, people from all over the world singing, because it gives you that lift. It gives you a different energy. It gives you a different way of letting go of some of the other things that might be distractors or downers and being in a different place. So it's just a few moments to just be and fill up your soul.
That sounds wonderful. So everyone, you can get Margaret's gift by clicking the button below this video. We'll take you to her website where you'll just simply give your name and email address, and you'll receive this self-care booklet that includes videos. So thank you so much again. Let's have, would you please tell us how listeners can connect with your website to get more, learn more about being certified as a holistic nurse or a nurse coach?
You can go to www.AHNCC.org. And there is one of the things that I have found very powerful for our organization and will share with you is we have a video library. It's under resources and it's called Video Library. And what we've done is I've created a lot of short clips. They're like 2 to 3 minutes. And we have 7,000 or more now coming every month, over 60 hours viewed of 2-minute clips that answer questions like, what is holistic nursing? What is the difference between holistic nursing and nurse coaching? How do I get certified? So the video library is very helpful. And for those of you starting your business, I would encourage you thinking about this initiative because it really saves on phone calls or emails. And we're in a world now where we want short videos. We don't want to necessarily even talk to people if we've gotten off shift of 11 o'clock at night, or if we've gotten back from taking the kids to school and now it's 7 o'clock at night. It's something that you can do in your business that can provide a lot of information, easy accessibility, and it saves you on your resources. So you can go to our website at www.AHNCC.org. And if you're interested in the video library, go to the resources page on the navigator bar and scroll down to video library. But I encourage you to think about doing something like this because it's been really powerful. We have less phone calls. We will take phone calls. We have a direct line under Contact Us. Please feel free to call us or email us. That's what we're here for. But from a person's perspective who's setting up their own business, it's a great way to better utilize resources.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Set up a video library of short videos that put your message forward and from different perspectives, give practical information, actionable information that your customers or your audience can use. And it helps them get to know you. It helps you be more visible. And all of this is part of marketing. In fact, marketing doesn't have to involve sales pitches or any of that stuff that we've seen happen so much in the mainstream marketing world. It can be conversations, it can be videos, ideally it's just letting people know who you are, what you're up to, and in a very natural way. Then some of those people will want to have more by working with you. They will want to have your help, or they will want to have what you offer. So thank you for that video tip.
And there's one other thing that just came to mind that you and I both talked before about marketing for hippies.
Yes.
And he is just the owner is just a wonderful individual. And he gave a message probably a year or two ago that I heard that I thought was very simple and profound about marketing. And that was, what do you have to offer them? Not what are you trying to sell them, but what do you have to offer them? It's about what do you have to gift to the other individual. And that is communication, that is connections. And one of the things that our marketing committee decided is that we aren't about marketing, we're about connections and engagement. So we actually changed the title because they said it's not about selling to somebody, it's about connecting and engaging.
Connect
So
and engage.
I want to share that because I think our language is extremely important.
Yes,
And it's not about taking, it's not about what can you give me, but it's what can I offer you. And as nurses, we have a phenomenal amount to offer.
we really do. And I think that's where we come from. It's just a matter of putting our words to match where our heart and our mind are coming from. And to do that, we're going to need to have business education, business mentors, peers, peer support, so that we can begin to build these our own nurse business models, nurse marketing models that are based on offering service and not, selling or convincing or manipulating or any of those things that they do happen in the marketplace.
We do. We want to genuinely offer what we have from a space of authenticity,
Yes.
and that it's something that enriches people's lives, not drains them or
Yeah,
takes from them.
really enriches. And
Mhm.
it is a gift when we do that.
It is a gift.
And that's what nurses do every day. That's what we're designed to do. That's what we're here to do.
Mhm.
We just want to bring that now into our businesses and keep doing it. Keep doing it. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Margaret?
Just reach out to us if we can be helpful to you. Holistic nursing is grounded way back with Florence's day, and we're seeing more and more nurses that are not happy, fulfilled, able to honor who they are in traditional employment settings. And I'm excited. After 22 years, I'm still excited about what I do, about honoring what I do, helping others honor themselves. So if you're interested in certification in holistic nursing or nurse coaching or health and wellness nurse coaching, let us know. We'll make the journey as smooth and easy as possible.
Yes, and you do. So
Thank you.
I really encourage the listeners to follow up on your invitation. Well, let's wind up then for today. You've been listening to Sharon Burch and Dr. Margaret Erickson for the Respectful Marketing Tips for Caring Nurse Entrepreneurs event. Remember, you can watch all of our interviews through Sunday, September 18th, and then they come down. There's no recordings available that will be available for purchase, and they won't be available after the 18th of September. So thank you. Have a great day, and goodbye for now.